Today, I'm going to run down everything you need to know about Berserker so that you can RP your guts fantasy and just stomp the competition.
And compensate for the lack of something like I am with a giant sword.
The video breakdown is going to be the PvP build, the leveling build, and all of the PvE raid builds that we're going to need. And all of these builds are going to be linked in the description
And are also formatted for mobile for my one screen homies.
Just like all the other videos, I'm always going to try and keep you one step ahead. So if you gain any value from this, I would really appreciate it if you subscribed. My name's Claysthetics, and we're running right into it.
Don't forget to like the video. It's the only way YouTube knows I exist.
So lighting this off, I'm just going to do a quick rundown. I used to stream Lost Ark and made a ton of guides way back in the day, and I'm making a big return for the NA launch. I scaled these builds off of some of the best Korean players that are still pushing endgame content, and if you want to fact check or whatever you need to do, then all you need to do is head over to lowhate.com and check out the highest item level players. In our case, we're just going to go straight for Berserker, and all we have to do is copy paste the name right into here in the battle info room. Both of these links are going to be linked in the description again.
And if you can't read Korean, just right-click, translate to English. It's really not that big of a deal.
But the player I chose to base my builds off of is Hit, and he's an absolute monster. He played in the Royal Rotors Esports Tournament in 2020 and is the Bard farming god. This guy has been actual rank 1 when no other Berserkers were even close. And he really showed us that you can just run down anyone as long as you have the skill. So of course, we're going to scale our builds off of him. So starting off with our PvP build, it's going to be built around patience, aggression, and forcing cooldowns out of your opponent so you can capitalize on all of their mistakes. It's going to give us tons of opportunities to carry your two teammates by forcing their team to put 2 people on you, because if they ignore you, you're going to be running down that one person like a dog. Your engage is insanely strong and your chase is so annoying that most of the time you get flamed in chat for it, and that's really what PvP is all about. So our build, starting with our ultimate awakening skill that we choose, is going to be Chains of Vengeance. It's insanely strong and has tons of potential for you to put heavy damage on 3 people and creates a massive opportunity for your team if you use it at the right time. And while Berserk Fury is good and looks amazing and is way more satisfying to hit somebody with, it just doesn't really measure up for me personally. So our main 8 skills are going to be Shoulder Charge, Mountain Crash, Red Dust, and Tempest Slash. These 4 are also going to create our most consistent damage combo for a huge damage burst. Windblade is another tool for us to run people down or escape with and has tons of utility, whereas Sword Storms are cone AoE stun that's going to help us peel our teammates or catch people out.
And Execution as well, and Execute. And while these might have different names on NA, just go picture to picture. It all works out in the end.
A quick beginner tutorial just for like the bare basics. Shoulder Charge into somebody, Mountain Crash, Red Dust, Tempest. When they roll away, catch them with Windblade, Diving Slash, or Sword Storm, and pump them with an Execute. Most of the time, this will either full kill or get someone so low that anyone on your team can one-tap them, or you can just finish them off with your ult. But just remember, you can only use your ult once, so make the most of it. So your strengths are big damage, looking amazing, and being able to just be so aggressive. The big drawbacks are going to be long cooldowns and the usual W key smooth brain berserker problem where you just run straight into everybody if you're not paying attention. Don't do that, you'll die instantly. But to help with the drawback of the cooldowns being so long, our stat line is going to be weighted heavy agility in PvP simply because it gives so much cooldown reduction in attack speed and movement speed. After playing around, I found that 800 gave me just enough CDR to help with all my timings, but if you feel like you need more, just take more. Now, this has always been debatable, but Subdue increases flat damage against CC targets, so in PvP, you're always getting value out of this. You can run my setup or just ignore Subdue altogether and go 800 Agi and 450 crit and just swing for the big damn, because why not? But now running into some PvE, and I'm not a huge PvEer, and honestly, I don't really PvE at all, but it's the ultimate Berserker guide, and it wouldn't make any sense without a PvE portion. So after scaling down some 400 skill point builds from our Korean overlords to our measly 267 that we're getting on NA launch, now your main goal is going to be getting more skill points. These blue skill point potions are the most important thing in the entire game for PvE. You need them. Going from 267 to 400 skill points is such a massive difference in just raw power. It's absolutely insane, and you need these. So don't skip any of them. They are absolutely mandatory. So this is the leveling build, and I labeled the skills with the numbers for the order that you should take them in as you level. The idea is that you hit power spikes in certain stages so that it keeps you leveling at max speed. Also, if the names are different in NA, because this is recorded in Russia with the English patch, again, just match the pictures. I know you can do it. So this is the final build with 267 skill points. You'll be there at 50 no matter what, but that doesn't really help us at level 1, and we're going to be abusing free respecking to make sure that we hit strides to get to 50 as fast as possible. So as soon as you load in, pop 4 points into Whirlwind and grab Enhanced Duration and 4 points into Execution. That way you can get tenacity so the mobs can't CC you. As soon as we get to level 16 or 18, whatever it is that you can max the skill out, it's been a while since I've leveled, you will remove your points from X and Whirlwind and dump them all into Tempest Slash. General rule of thumb is just to run past a bunch of mobs, let them all group up on you, and then just hit it. It's going to one-shot everything. It has a decently low cooldown and is one of your strongest early game abilities. And a lot of guides will tell you to go for Whirlwind, but you will get CC'd out of it a lot, which is why I'm recommending Tempest Slash. You're going to go a lot faster this way, and after that, as you progress, you want to put 4 points into Double Slash, Execute, and Whirlwind again. Then max out Hellblade, and this is going to let you hit strides and just power through the game as fast as possible. After that, just max out Execution, finish by maxing out Red Dust and Strike Wave, and then alternate the skills in as you get them. I'll personally be leveling this exact same way and streaming it on launch. But now it's time for our big dick raid build. And it's all gas, no brakes, pure madness. You'll be using Chainsword as a crit chance and attack speed steroid basically on cooldown, and your main combo is going to be Chainsword into Red Dust, Tempest Slash, Execute, and trying to keep that buff up whenever you can to dump any of your big skills. Waiting the extra few seconds early game when your stat line sucks to dump with the Chainsword buff is going to be the difference between a good player and an amazing one. And our stat line is going to be heavy crit, medium agility. Again, if the names are different in NA, just make sure you look for crit and attack speed. These are the two things you're going to be focusing on. Early game, you're going to want to try and get your crit to 36%. That way, with the 30% you're going to get from Enrage, you're going to stay at 66%. And with the Red Dust debuff, that's going to put you at 86% crit chance. I know, lots of math, but it's going to make you an absolute monster. And your ideal min-max late game build is to get 50% crit chance flat on the stat sheet and dump the rest into agility. This is going to give you 100% crit chance, and that also makes this one of the top DPS builds in the entire game, just because of this class engraving called Madness. And it's going to let you get permanent Enrage, which is normally 20% movement speed and 30% crit chance. But with Madness, it's 4, 9, and 18% damage and movement speed at the different stages, with a flat 15% attack speed increase at all tiers. The drawback is you now have 25% max HP, but with 65% damage reduction. So effectively, you gain a permanent steroid with the cost of 10% max HP. And it is super worth it to take Madness even at level 1. And if you're this far into the video, this is where you're going to get the most disgusting tips to just absolutely destroy the raids and the economy. Because our HP cap is so low, we can use green pots and they will be overhealing you. This is going to let us sell off everything else and make tons of extra gold early game. But some people are worried about that extra 10% HP that you lose. Don't worry, you're actually going to end up with more HP than everybody else. It's super easy to get the cards in Shoeshire and the elements from the story quest. So now you're going to have 20% damage reduction from these just for being below 50% health, which means you're effectively at 110% max HP, making you beefier than every other person that you're playing with. So you're just looking at a mental game that you have to bypass over anything else. And you obtain all these cards just by leveling, and you're going to have them right off the rip at 50 as soon as you finish Shoeshire. And if you start ranking all the cards up, the effects get even better, but that's an entire video in itself, and I don't want to make this one too long because this is purely about Berserker, not about Yu-Gi-Oh! So now we're just going to break down the engravings and how to get them because this isn't explained anywhere else for some reason. But step 1, do your 2 daily Chaos Dungeons. Step 2, now you're going to be able to generate these bonus tokens from the Chaos Dungeons, which are going to let you buy this bag, which lets you get Madness, and just repeat 20 times. You get like 150-ish per run on the third one. Then you buy Madness, and then you win, and that's it. Now we're going to go over the other best engravings to target just so you know what to look for. And remember, you won't be able to rank 3 all of these right away, but they all provide insane value, so make sure you're looking for them. Obviously, priority Madness in your 2 free pick slots, that way you have it no matter what. And then prioritize any item with Madness on it because getting this to tier 3 is going to be the biggest possible increase for our character. After that, we're looking at Sharp Blunt Weapon, and after we have Madness maxed out, this is the biggest DPS increase for our build because it gives us flat 50% crit damage all the time, only with the drawback of 20% reduced damage if you don't crit. So it's literally just a 50% damage increase for our character. After that, we're going Master's Potential just for the flat 16% damage increase below 50%, and Cursed Doll for the flat 16% increased damage because our healing doesn't really matter because it's already overcapped. The last one we're going to try and pick up will be Assault Captain for the movement speed conversion to damage because we have tons of movement speed during our permanent Enrage, so it works out as a good DPS buff. I don't know the maths, but if anybody does know the quick maths, then make sure you let me know. My brain's too smooth because I'm playing Berserker. Let's be honest, that's what it's all about. Again, the names might be different, but the effects are all going to be the same as I described them, so make sure you're just looking for those. And while this is a tier 1 to tier 3 Berserker guide, I will be doing an updated Berserker video when we push past that when we get the update to go to tier 4. But between now and then, I will be doing constant min-max updates in my Discord to the builds, the stats, whatever, just to make sure we all stay on top of our game. So make sure you join that if you're interested in just hanging out with the boys. So just to future-proof you guys, so you don't need a brand new video or guide or whatever every single time we get more skill points, we're going to go over what we get at 296 And this is where we drop Mountain Crash and take Swordstorm and just max it out with these tripods. After that, when we get to 312, we're going to add this tier to Chainsword. And then at 340, we're going to add the final tier to Chainsword. And because we're never ever going to replace Shoulder Charge, we're going to be able to put 12 points into every other one of our skills except for Chainblade. This is the final build for Madness where we'll end up when we get all the expansions that Lost Ark has to offer. Now we're going to do a quick breakdown of metagaming and what kind of comp you're going to want to run as Zerker. You're going to want to line your Red Dust CDs up with whoever else is in your party with their cooldowns if you can communicate with them, and dump in that window for max DPS. So we're going to be looking at a Holy Knight or Bard for support. Both are nuts and have their own benefits, so make sure you take one to every group. Fighters aren't super sought after in PvE and KR, but who cares? It's all about us anyways. They give us flat crit damage with their buff, so it's going to make us look even better. So try and take one War Dancer or one Striker with you, and then pop a Soul Master in so they can hit you with that 40% damage steroid during your burst as well. You're going to be on the moon with your damage. Other than that, you can pretty much solo carry any group with this build. It's disgusting, it's cheap to run, and there's not a lot else to it. Now here's the Mobbing Madness build. I'm just going to show the tripods and not talk a lot about it because it's literally just the Madness build, but with better AoE. Now finally, the last PvE build, and this is kind of the one I ran when I played Berserker on JP, and it's going to be the alternative one if Madness ever gets gutted. It's built to generate rage and help you enrage faster while keeping you enraged longer. So for all my real motherfuckers that always stay until the end of the video, you know I love you the most. And I really just want to know what you guys think about Berserker. It's always been my second character. Destroyer's always been my main, but obviously I got cucked, so this is where we're at. This is the new main until Destroyer comes out, and I hope to keep it on top with the rest of you. Again, make sure you pop in the Discord. I love to hear from you guys, but if that's not your thing, just drop a message in the comments. I reply to every single one, and make sure you stay beautiful, blessed, and safe out there so I can see you in the next one. Peace.